thing. So, um,
Recording in progress.
recording in progress. The recording is now progressing. Hello,
Hello.
everybody. This is Kurt from the Bad Penny, um, music journalist, rock critic, whatever you want to call me. Just some guy who's living in Boise, Idaho, and I'm very, very pleased to welcome um, Aviv from Jacob the Horse, right?
Hello. Yes,
And
that is
your
me.
name is not Jacob, and you're not a horse. So,
Uh, as far as I know, I'm not a horse. My name isn't Jacob. My father's name is Jacob. So
okay.
our band is named after him.
Have you done the whole Ancestry.com thing to confirm that you're not partially horse?
Not, I have not yet done that, but we're waiting for the results.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, uh, fingers crossed, I guess. I mean, I guess horse has, you could run really fast if you didn't know. You probably could. Okay. So we just connected and I love you already. And you were telling me how you and your drummer from high school
Mhm.
have a podcast in which you're going through every episode of, is it Law and
Law and
Order
Order
SVU?
SVU. Yes, correct. In a row from the beginning.
Why do that to yourself?
Great question. To be completely honest, and this is like not what we're supposed to be talking about today, but whatever. Um, so
How do you
uh,
know that? This was actually my
I guess
ulterior motive.
this was the real reason you had me on. So in 2014 or so, I got a letter in the mail. It was in a book. My friend Matt had gone to France with his girlfriend, now wife,
Okay.
and he had gotten me a book, and in it he wrote this note that was like, I can feel us drifting apart. We used to be so close. We were best friends in junior high. This wasn't in the note, but I'm giving you context. We were best friends in junior high. We were in a band in high school together that like broke up in college, and people drift apart. And he's like, I can feel us drifting apart. I want to like do something to make sure that we, continue to be friends. And so the
Really
next time
sincere.
so sincere, so nice. And the next time I saw him, he was like, "Do you?" This was 2015, so the podcast, the new podcast boom. He was like, "Do you want to start a podcast where we rate and review every episode of Law and Order in SVU in a row from the beginning?" Because it's like a show that we used to like have on when we were hanging out as kids, and I was like, "Sure." Literally, if he had asked me if I wanted to like go to the pet store and handle the ferrets, I would have said yeah. Anything he wanted us to do, I would have done. And so we didn't realize how significant that would be. We've been doing it for 10 years. We're in the middle of season 18. We are now reviewing episodes and talking about episodes that had not yet aired when we started the show. And so we are like, we thought, when we started the show, it was like in season 17, and we are like, there's no way. Maybe it'll go to 20. So they're working on season 27 now, and we are absolutely losing our minds. To the point at which I started to try to sabotage the podcast from the inside, and I instituted a segment on the show called Snack or Whack, where I would turn off my. We do it on Zoom or on like FaceTime. I turn off my camera and eat a snack into the microphone, and Matt, my co-host, has to guess what snack I'm eating. When does this air?
You know what? To be honest, I kind of want to throw it up today.
Great. So if we've got any crossover listeners, this is the snack for our Christmas episode.
Dude, I'm not going to make it through this. I'm not going to make this conversation. This, this story.
Pascal Clinkers, which sounds like a slur.
Right.
Hi, Kurt. How are you?
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry that no one adequately prepared you for this.
I didn't see this coming at all. This is too funny. And I think about, there are other podcasts and I've kind of receded a bit from that world, but
Mm-hmm.
there was like how did this movie get made?
Yeah, oh,
And
yeah, I love How Did This Get Made?
that's a good one. And but then there's the Curb Your Enthusiasm folks did like episode by episode, which provided some insights. I don't know if they actually followed through with it, but like,
There
but this
was
one,
there was
yeah,
a show called The Worst Idea I think it was called The Worst Idea Ever, where they would watch Grown Ups 2 every day.
yeah.
And so it has gone from something that's like, hey, I'm on the phone. My dog is there's someone in his hey, thank you. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. We it has gone from like a legitimate review show like your Lost recaps or your Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it has transitioned into watch these two people lose their minds.
Okay, right,
And
right.
so yeah, so
Okay.
our our listeners have taken that transition well
Yeah.
and send us things that will are trying to kill us essentially.
And I think there was another podcast too, like out in New York. Was it called The Spoonful or Spoon
Mm-hmm.
something? I think it was actually a buddy of mine from college who was part of that, or maybe he was a guest on it a lot of times. But anyway, we'll deviate from that. But I'm glad to hear that you've incorporated some levity into your
Yes,
life, and although it does sound like it could be quite laborious at times.
it is.
Um,
It sure is.
Yeah. But so really it's I can't thank you enough for making the time for me to
This
talk
is
to you
great.
about this. Yeah, yeah.
Happy to do it.
Yeah, man. And when I saw like um your the press release about what you guys are up to in the new record, I was like, I can't not have these guys be part of this series. I started the series about a year and a half ago, and out of fear that Trump might win. And what I did was initially I interviewed artists from across the world who are living under authoritarian
Hmm.
governments and talked with them about like how they can still function and how they can be artists in those regimes. And then about six, actually kind of going on like 8 months ago now, I shifted focus, to how American artists are coping and dealing with things.
Yeah, and I think that that's such an important service for people because your like first 6 months were like a roadmap for where we are now, trying to like preserve our artistic whatever
Yeah,
freedom, spark, passion, abilities,
absolutely.
what have you.
Yeah, and not only that, but to have the context, because like I think the most salient thing I learned from all the interviews I did with artists in Turkey and Iraq and Russia and Ukraine and I mean obviously all their circumstances are somewhat different,
Yeah.
but UAE and so on and so forth was that when I talked with a couple bands from Hungary. They were very, very reluctant to talk about anything even remotely. I don't even, I think the word politics now has kind of lost all meaning because
Yeah.
like what's going on right now is so far beyond that. So when I approach bands and they say like, oh, we don't do politics, I'm like, yeah, wait to your buddy and come back to me and
Yeah.
tell me what
Right.
you want to talk about. But anyway, but these bands in Hungary, you could tell the fear because Orban is such a smart, he's a lawyer, politician, very, very skilled at quashing dissent. And my point being is that we've gone so far beyond his tactics now at this point.
Hmm.
It is absolutely stunning. And what I really am excited to talk to you about is I think that you, from what I've gathered, have a clutch on what's going on in a way that, like, a lot of artists I've talked to for the series, and there's been some incredible conversations I've had. They're
Yeah.
still not aware of everything that's going on, or they can't see the larger picture, and they don't have the
Oh
outrage.
man.
And I see that you have kind of all
I
those things.
have plenty of outrage, that's for sure. But I think that
Yeah.
I see myself in like several of the examples that you're sort of touchstones that you just gave. So when when you start writing songs, it's basically, I mean, it's always just like a diary entry. And so when you start writing songs as a teenager, you're talking about like your world, which is basically this big, and it's about who likes me and who doesn't like me, and who I like and who I don't like. And
Yeah.
and and the better songwriter you are, the more universal you're able to make those super personal feelings. And then
Yeah.
not everybody, but the but great songwriters and great sort of the people that can sort of widen their scope a little bit do the same thing with the things that are affecting their community. And so they take something that's very personal to them, and they make it universal in the same way that good love songwriters do. Like Leonard Cohen could do that. And in even the songs that are not political of Leonard Cohen songs have become political in a way that he never really intended, which always makes me kind of giggle.
Right.
Like Hallelujah is a song about just like boning. So every time they like sing it at someone's funeral, I'm like, you don't, you shouldn't, you should read the, no, you shouldn't do that. I mean,
Well,
or do it. That's fine.
right.
And
Well, I
so
mean,
yeah,
Jeff Buckley covered it, and he was like an
God,
Adonis,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
And so the like come back to me in 6 months thing, like I think yes, I think half of them will come back to you in 6 months and get with the program,
Right.
or be figuring out a way to get with the program to say a thing that they believe in a way that doesn't feel trite, which is the thing that I struggle with a lot.
Uh-huh.
um
Uh-huh.
or they'll just be like, nope, we're going to be Blink 182, we're going to sing about love songs in high school and school dances in our 40s, which is like totally chill. That's who they are. They make a lot of money doing it. They are artistically fulfilled. There's like no better life than that. But some people stay there and have a
Right.
lot of success, and some
Right.
people transition and don't have success, or do. I don't know if it.
When you say you have concerns about coming across as trite, is it
Yes.
is it because like you're afraid of making comments that people have heard before, sort of a boy cried wolf scenario, or
Kind of the opposite. I think hyperbole is like, par for the course in any love song is the greatest love that's ever been. And so I think any political song, you sort of paint it the same way. There's a funny meme of like centrist Rage Against the Machine, where it's like someone covering Rage Against the Machine from like a middle of the road point of view, and it's like, I'll do what you tell me sometimes. And so like obviously those songs don't work. Um, so the triteness that I worry about with all songs, but especially the political music that we're making now, because the stakes are a bit higher,
yeah,
are like not just crying wolf about how bad things are, how intensely I feel something, but sort of how do I put this? Like planting my flag in the wrong direction,
Mhm.
so that in 5 years, when everyone evolves politically basically all the time, I don't look back and say like, who the fuck was this? Oh, can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
Who the fuck was this guy? So we released a song right after Trump's first inauguration, called Dead by 45. And that was our first overtly political song that was a little bit more of a rallying cry of like, let's all work together and defeat this guy.
Yeah,
And it was, it was 2016, it was 2017. The hashtag resist, all this stuff, it was like very much that.
yeah,
And then that blew up in our faces so significantly, in everyone's face so significantly, with the ensuing whatever 8 years, that now that we're back here, I'm really conscious with the stuff that we're writing now, that we're not providing a solution. No, none of our songs are like, and this is what we have to do to stop it.
right.
Because the thing that that you said were like, I'm gonna repeat the compliment you paid me, which I'm very thankful for, which is that like we get it. The thing that we get is that there's no way out of this, and this is a hopeless record. And the only hope is like fighting back, and like, I believe in organizing, I believe in fighting back, I believe in all these things, but this is still a diary entry. This whole record is a diary entry of like me on my worst days when I wake up and I think
Mm,
it's over.
mm,
The American experiment is over.
mm,
You know, the things that we grew up believing and people telling us was true about our society are lies, never existed. And so
yeah.
the only real call to action on the whole record is a thing that we repeat a couple times. Have you listened to have you gotten the whole record or
Yeah.
just the okay?
Mm,
So a thing that we kind of repeat a couple different times on the record is the line "Show me your fangs" or "Show me
mhm,
your teeth," which
mhm,
is like that people need to stop waiting around for others to do it for them
yeah.
and show the people that mean to step on you that you still have teeth and you won't go down without a fight.
Fight or flight kind of a
Yeah.
thing. Right, right, right.
And we've been freezing. Everyone's been freezing.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're very much at the James Carville school of thought, which is that let's just like sit back and not do
Rage and
anything.
Cajun.
Let's just let them implode, self-implode, and 3 years we'll be back to normal.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. The institutions and
prestigious.
I have a lot of I have a lot of conversations with like older folks, baby boomers who've seen the institutions work, right? They saw Nixon get taken down, they saw all these things, and we accuse each other. I'm talking like basically specifically about my parents, of naivete. Both of us think that both parties think the other is being naive. I think that they're being naive, thinking that the institutions will step in and save us because they won't. I mean, they really, really won't. The Supreme Court is is completely packed. The Congress has proven, even the Democrats have proven that they will not stand up to Trump. All
Right.
this stuff is running rampant. There are people calling for him to run for a third term, which I think he probably will.
Yeah.
And they accuse me of being naive and thinking like this is the only time that the bad guys have won, and being like sort of the sky is falling. But look outside, guys. The sky is falling.
It says fallen. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, so I think there's an illusion either on your record or maybe it was a statement that you made in the press release about how you feel like protests don't work or they're insufficient. And I'm
Yes.
wondering, like, if you're asking people to show their fangs, um, don't you have to be in public in order to do that?
Yeah.
And isn't there at least some? I mean, I get it. It's like, you know, it's not like this administration cares at all about public sentiment. They
Right.
they don't even really care anymore about Republican sentiment. But I
No.
mean, do you see any value in like 7 million people turning out and like showing their fangs? I mean, and maybe only 10% of those people were showing their fangs. The other ones were like just kind of
And that's sort of
fun dances.
that's that's sort of where my criticism is, which is like
Yeah.
I I I don't think that protests don't work. I think that performative protests,
Hmm.
toothless protests don't work.
Right.
You know, I I feel a little hypocritical saying this. I'm a hypocrite about everything, but
Hmm.
the sanctioned organized protests are a great step one,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then the action needs to like keep going, the pressure needs to keep building. It's very clear that these people are cowards,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
at the moment that real people start flexing the actual power that we have, the is the moment that they fold.
Hmm.
And therefore, when we do a No Kings protest, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But it also touches like the pleasure center of someone's brain saying, okay, we're done. We did it.
Yeah.
And, it happened with the Women's March in 2016 or 2017. And there's also this like sniping that happens. What do you get when you put two leftists in a room, three opinions? So that there was this like sniping that happened within sort of the resistance community of like, people at the Women's March chanting Black Lives Matter, and then other people being like, no, that's not about this. And the first group being like, well, of course it is. And so I think that the we can't rest on our laurels and say, okay, we did it. We did the protest. We sure showed him. He finally got the message.
Mhm.
He'll never get the message. None of them will ever get the message. The message is cruelty. And it is,
Yeah.
I think so I have so much to say about this. I'm so sorry. Cut out whatever you want. But
Dude, you're the perfect person for the series. Like
sorry.
this is, yeah. I think
So
you're number 71 and like, I've struck gold here with you. So
71
thanks.
on the docket, number one in your heart. So I think that a lot of this comes from the the West Wingification and Daily Showification of
Yeah.
the left side of the American political spectrum, where
Yeah.
we think that if we just like speechify the right way and or point out their hypocrisy, that
Right.
they will be like, oh, you got us.
Yeah.
When like they don't care. They've never cared.
Right.
And in fact they like getting people angry about their hypocrisy because they are then it's giving them cover to do what, steal billions of dollars from us and take all of our agency away and all this other stuff, and ensure that we die in poverty and sick. But put all that aside. So
Mhm.
that's what's one thought that I have. The other side of it is we are also working ourselves to death. We have
Yeah, man.
levels of income inequality that rival the Gilded Age and the French Revolution. And
Mhm.
so I couldn't go to these protests because I was working. And if I didn't work, I would get fired. I would lose my house or my apartment.
Mhm.
So I think that this is all I don't think that these people are very smart,
Mhm.
but we are playing checkers and they are playing chess because we think that we're accomplishing something by doing a big 1 day protest, and we might be accomplishing like a little bit,
Yeah.
but the fact that half or a third or two-thirds of the people that would be there couldn't because of their financial obligations,
Yeah.
which like
Yeah.
are a byproduct of the system that we have in place now, keeping us poor and sick and worried about our jobs and becoming homeless,
Right.
that they're like laughing all the way to the bank. They're still amassing crazy amounts of wealth on our labor.
Sure.
And, if 7 million people protest, that's great. It's better than 30.
Yeah.
And the other, 23 million people are working, which
Yeah.
is exactly where they want us to be.
I'm kind of of the mind, when people talk about whether the administration is incompetent, or if they're just pure evil. I do think that there's strains of both, but I think
Totally.
I don't know if it's a black and white answer because I think there's very, very smart people who are in the cabinet and positions of power, but those are the people we don't see.
Yeah, the
And what they
managing the
Yeah, and
whatever.
but they get it, get probably hard-ons like trotting out the idiots because they know they have such contempt for the American people
Mm-hmm.
that they trot out these morons,
And
and they know that the American people will go along with it, and we do. And
frankly,
it's
Trump is one of those morons.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
let's
yeah,
be real.
yeah, yeah,
This White House ballroom thing is that exact.
yeah,
I hate agreeing with like a Chuck Schumer or a Hakeem Jeffries that's like it's a distraction, but like I'm saying it a different way than they are, which is like they are allowing Trump to play with his Tonka trucks, knowing that that's where all of the ink, all of the press will go is like,
yeah,
oh my god, this like hallowed institution, the East Wing of the White House, is being demolished and gilded and turned into a big ballroom. Like they're, to quote the Kardashians, people are literally dying, Kim. Like I don't have any fealty to the building, the White House.
Right.
I
Right.
think it's a symbol, and I think like their readiness to demolish it is a symbol, but not necessarily in a way that many people think. I think it's like what's gonna own the libs the hardest
Yep. Yep.
to get them to focus on that and not the concentration camps that we have built.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really one of the more disappointing conversations that I hear in the news and also just with people is like when I hear the word distraction, I just want that word removed from the conversation because the reality is we all know that the tactic was flooding the zone and they did
Yes,
that from day
yes.
one. They're still doing it now. And if you're flooding the zone, distraction doesn't play any part of it
Mm-mm.
because
It's all distraction and it's all content.
it's all it's like um you know from my 30 years of military experience it's on the back it's on the battlefield and it's like you've got all these forces coming at you and you don't know which way to go. It's like you're not thinking about like, oh, that guy's distracting me from this guy who's going to kill me over here. It's like
It's interesting. I have a similar sort of conceptual idea of it from a very different source, which is, do you remember the Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns goes to the doctor and the doctor tells him that there's so many things trying to kill him that none of them can get through the door? And
no, I don't know that one.
he's like, there's so many, we call it the Three Stooges principle. So many things they're trying to kill you that none of them can get at you. And he's like, so I can never die. That's what Trump is doing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's doing so many impeachable things
All right.
that and illegal things and evil things and cruel things that we just don't have the capacity to deal with it all, and he is transmitting his dementia onto us that we can no longer focus, we can no longer sleep at night, we can no like we're fighting with our families, all this stuff
Right.
because of the nonsense that he and his like handlers are doing.
Hey, can you imagine, just fathom for a second, if you thought that way, like that you do so much crazy shit that nothing's going to actually penetrate you or hold you accountable. The sense of power and invincibility that one must feel
What do you
when they
mean?
have that.
Trump doesn't see himself as powerful or invincible. I never have experienced that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, he does it. He's kind of a people pleaser. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
He just
Yeah.
loves helping people out.
I guess maybe I'm talking more like Heg stuff and stuff, but
I am completely kidding. Trump
Alright.
Trump has taken his third cognitive exam this month, and he's like, I'm the best at cognitive exams. There's no other reason to give one to an 80-year old every 6 weeks.
Sunglasses,
Yeah.
ball,
Man,
hat.
woman, person, camera.
Come on, you got to repeat it. What
Yeah.
was
God. God.
um, okay, so we don't have a whole lot of time,
Oh
which is a
no.
thing. We've got to have another. We've got to have a part two. You're just the fucking
Totally.
bomb, man. I love
I'm
talking
happy.
with
I'm
you.
happy to keep talking. We can just like do another Zoom now or whenever you want.
Okay, okay, cool. And then I also at some point want to talk with you about movies because I do a movie thing, and you're
I am a screenwriter. I teach screenwriting at a college.
yeah, yeah. You teach. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I really want to pick your brain.
For sure.
I really am so grateful that these stars
We have aligned. Yeah.
aligned. But I think the last question I wanted to ask you, and I usually don't prepare questions, but I actually do have some prepared. And this is one that'll probably occupy the last 5 minutes of our conversation. And
Right.
I don't want to cut off. I don't want the video cut off. It's a pain in the
No
ass.
problem.
Do you think punk rock has lost its way?
Wow. That's it. That's the whole question.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, which is like, you when you're younger, you sort of like are like you're fighting against the world and trying to figure
Mhm.
out who you are and negotiating that and punk rock is such a great way of like finding a community. But I guess the reason I asked that question is because like to and maybe it's just because I listen to more heavy metal than punk these days
Mm,
in indie rock too. But it seems to me like the punk rock community, you guys aside,
yeah. Hey,
and there are
fuck you, dude.
and there's don't get me wrong, there's a litany of bands
Yeah.
that are punk rock that are standing up and saying something. But I'm really disappointed by the complacency of so many, especially the veteran punk rock bands. Not
So that I think is legitimate, and to give Green Day their flowers, like they've been pretty consistent and living up to their beliefs. But I do take your point, right? Like when I'm 40, I don't know how old you are, but when we were young,
75. I just celebrated my, yeah. So,
you look great.
thank you.
When we were young, there seemed to be sort of a more accessible protest music, right? I went to Warp Tour during like the Rock Against Bush era, and there
Oh,
were
yeah.
there were like bands putting out comps that were raising money, and I think not to blame everything on the corporations, but I think that there are just as many bands doing protest things now. Punk rock has sort of gone a little bit out of vogue compared to some other forms of music for
Right.
sure, but I still find a lot of like angry political punk indie stuff, but that they're not as backed by record. I think people are scared. The
Yeah.
people that are like the gatekeepers of the music industry are like scared as fuck,
Yeah.
and we don't have the like diversity of choice that we use. We have like once again we've flooded the zone, right? We have access to every song that's ever existed,
Yeah.
and the corporate radio stations or Spotify or whoever won't play the like anti-establishment music. So what we're being fed is like very complacent, and Green Day has been able to sort of like cut through that because they've been political for so long and consistent. They have like this, I don't want to say built-in fan base, but they've have their bona fides where like the radio stations will play whatever they do, and they have that kind of freedom,
It's like Robert De Niro. Like nobody's gonna take down Robert De Niro from
even though he's like telling Trump to fuck off. Yeah.
right.
But that just means that we punks have to work a little harder to like find and seek out and elevate this kind of music.
Hmm.
Myself, I would love for people to go out and listen to Jacob the Horse and our record to like for that to be it for you to sort of galvanize you. But I've been galvanized by a bunch of bands that I found across the internet. One band in particular is called Dead Pioneers. They're an indigenous punk band from Colorado, and
Okay.
they have a song called Bad Indian, which is maybe the best punk song of the last 30 years.
I will look
And
up to them.
it they're so great, and much like when I was a kid, and I used to be able to sort of talk to these punk bands after shows or like on MySpace. I'm like branding exactly how old I am. Um, I reached out to Dead Pioneers on Instagram, told them how much their music meant to me. They wrote back. They're like, "Thanks so much." We'd like chatted a little bit about political stuff. So I think um it because punk rock is no longer a profitable endeavor.
Uh-huh.
It was for like a very short period of time.
Right.
Because it's no longer a profitable endeavor, it's up to us to like seek out and find the guys that are the people that are still doing it. There are a lot of amazing women fronted bands that are
Yeah.
doing it. Mannequin Pussy is amazing.
Hmm.
um so uh, so it's a big world. There
Hmm.
are people who believe what you believe out there screaming about it into a microphone, and the people who hold the levers of power are want to make it increasingly difficult for you to find these people and
Yeah.
these bands because they want you to listen to Kings of Leon or what. I don't know why I'm taking shots at Kings of Leon, but like they want you to listen to like a sanitized, corporatized, watered down version of whatever they think is like allowed to be said, and it's going to get worse,
Yeah.
right? The more control right now people are complying in advance,
Yep.
but the more control the administration exerts over this stuff, the more you're going to see the Morgan Wallens and Benson Boones of the
Mhm.
world be the only thing you can hear on the radio and on Spotify and wherever else.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's you just echoed point number one of the 12 points in Timothy Snyder's on tyranny, which is why I called my series on tyranny.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, so we got 2 minutes left here. I'm going to say that what you just said completely flies in the face of what you told me at the beginning of the conversation, which is that you don't have hope and that there aren't calls to action because you just contradicted yourself in spelling out that there are ways that people can do something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to amount to much, but at least that they can feel good about it for and not curl up in a ball like I've done for, let's see, 18 months now.
Eight years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, something
I
like that.
don't I I much like everybody, I'm full of contradictions, and the record is me at my most hopeless. It's
Yeah.
me sort of channeling that into something that I think is like more productive than curling up under the covers and moaning.
Mhm.
Um and so I'm not completely without hope, but I think that we have to find the hope in our and the action in ourselves rather than in organizations that claim to represent us, claim to be fighting on our behalf. Like we have to sort of get up and fight for
Yeah,
ourselves, and music is a huge part of that.
cool. Okay, so you guys just put out a new single, 666 Chicks.
Yes, we put out a
Um,
single 666 Chicks on December 4th. You can check
fourth.
out the video. You have it's age restricted on YouTube, so sign in. And you can hear it wherever you get your music, including Spotify, even though fuck Spotify, Spotify can eat shit. All these streaming services can eat shit. You have my permission to pirate our record. And we have a new single coming out on January 12th, which is called Bad New Religion, which is our take on a bad religion song.
Excellent. And then you got At Least It's Almost Over LP coming out March 20.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to get cut off. So I'm going to be talking to you again very soon, if that's okay with
Yes.
you.
Yeah, for sure. You can send me another link now and we can just chat.
Okay. Yeah, let me do that.
Cool.
Let me just stop recording here. Thanks,
Thanks.
everybody, for listening.